Hey guys, it's ExandShadow, and welcome back to Let's Play Banjo-Tooie. In the last part, we finished up what we could of Pterodactyl Land for the time being, and in this part, we are going back to Spiral Mountain for the first time since the last time, in order to open up the next Cheeto cheat, because we do have 5 Cheeto pages. Thing is, however, the last time we went to Spiral Mountain, we hadn't gotten the Talon Torpedo from Jolly Roger's Lagoon, so you're going to want to use that right there in order to get that Jinjo, because that's an easy one to miss. You know, you might not think to look at Spiral Mountain for something like that, but I did, and so now we have that Jinjo. Hooray. The cheat that we get from Cheeto here is actually one that you might not want to equip, and I'm going to explain why. Now, you might remember I mentioned a couple of times throughout the playthrough that committing suicide is actually kind of a useful speedrunning trick. And now, most of the time, you can just kill yourself by jumping into a bottomless pit or whatever. But in some of the instances, one of the best ways to commit suicide is by falling down a really long shaft and hitting the bottom and killing yourself that way. The cheat that we just got there, Fall Proof, keeps you from taking damage whenever you fall. So, obviously, while that's useful if you're not trying to cheat the game like that, if you want to use it as a potential speedrunning trick, you're going to actually need to keep it off. Now, however, you might be able to use the Fall Proof cheat as a speedrunning trick in other ways, like you need to get to the bottom of an area really quick and there's no warp pads nearby, you can jump down without taking damage. But, you know, just take it or leave it. It's useful in some instances. It can dick you over if you try to use my strategies a little bit too much. But it's there if you want to use it. It's optional if you don't want to use it, I guess, is the way I want to put it. I'm turning it on just because I like having all my cheats on, but, you know, that's just me. Anyway, now that we've gotten that done, we are on our way to unlocking the next level in the game. I'm just going to spoil it right now. Grunty's Industries, which is not my favorite level. I'll just put it like that. No, don't get me wrong. It's got a lot of great things going for it, but there's a couple of more irritating things about it, and I'll get to explaining why I think that once we actually get into the thick of it, because if I use up all of my commentary right now, I'm going to be babbling on for parts and parts and parts later, and, you know, I'd rather just babble on and on for minutes and minutes and minutes now, so, you know what, you get to deal with me for the moment. Well, actually, you get to deal with me for the entire playthrough, but for the moment right now, you've just got to deal with my babbling, so hooray for that and stuff. Thankfully, at this point in the game, the jigsaw puzzles still are relatively simple. This Grunty's Industries one is a little bit annoying because there aren't too many. The room's all pretty much one color, you know, it's this greenish brown sort of thing, and there's very few bright standout pieces that makes it easy for you to figure out which piece goes where. But thankfully there aren't too many pieces in this puzzle to begin with, so you don't really have to worry about that too much, I don't think. It's a relatively simple one. We're not going to be... I just noticed how phallic those jigsaw pieces behind Jiggy Wiggy there look. Okay, I'm off topic, but yeah, that puzzle isn't too bad. The only really bad ones are the ones that come at the very end of the game, because those ones just have a lot of missing pieces, and that's, you know, obnoxious because you don't even really have any base to go off of for those. But for the time being, these really aren't that bad. Anywho, this is the first glimpse of Quagmire that we're seeing, because even though I had the ability to unlock Quagmire before this, I decided to unlock Grunty's Industries before then, just for, you know, backtracking and stuff. There's really only 2 things that you ever need to go to Quagmire for, and that's for going to Grunty's Industries or for the last area in the game. You know, like the final boss area in the game. And yeah, so that's why you're not going to use that. Well, you're not going to go there very much, I should say. Anywho, we also have enough honeycombs in order to get our second to last honeycomb from Honeybee here. We're really getting... I don't want to say we're really getting to the end of the game, because we're really only at like the 2/3 point at this point. But I should say that we're getting to the point where we're going to be unlocking a lot of extra stuff at a faster rate. Because, like, especially stuff like Jinjos. we're getting to the point where we're starting to clear up entire Jinjo families. In the first couple of areas of the game, like, you know, like up to the point where you get to like Witchy World or Jolly Roger's Lagoon, you're really only going to be filling out some Jinjo families. Like, you'll get 2 from one family or 3 from another. Not enough to really fill out any complete families. At this point of the game, the third point that we're at right now, we're really getting to the point where you really start like finishing up entire families and getting jiggies from that. So while we're getting towards the end of the game and some of the jiggies in the levels might take longer and longer to get on their own, we're getting to the point where you'll start getting jiggies and Cheeto sheets and honey, extra honeycombs and all that other stuff at a more rapid rate. So look forward to that, I guess. Also, the Jiggy that's on top of Grunty's Industries there, that's a Minjo. Oh, I said Jiggy. I meant Jinjo. That Jinjo up there, as you can see by it being on flames, is a Minjo, and you're going to want to ignore that. Because, yeah, going all the way up there just to get attacked, no good. So, after the game stops loading, here is Grunty's Industries, and at the present moment you can't really do too much in here. Basically there's just sort of like your outside area, there's some deadly swamp, there's this bouncing battery, which you're going to want to remember where that is because that's kind of important. And, you know, there's your strangely phallic-shaped rock formation. But there's not too much else that you can do here other than this little platforming segment. Because this is actually another instance where they do a really sort of creative, I guess puzzle's the right way to put it. They do a really creative thing with Chuffy here, where Grunty, like a smart person, actually locks up this area so Banjo can't get in. I mean, yeah, who'da thunk? We have all these jiggies in here that Banjo's gonna want to get. Let's lock this place up so he can't get them. However, she also forgot that that all of her workers take Chuffy in order to get to their shift. So what you gotta do is you gotta press a button in order to open up the train station. That is inside Grunty's Industries, the building, and you gotta take the train in order to get inside. This is, I think, really, really creative because, for one thing, it makes use of Chuffy, which I always love it when this game does that. And also, you know, it's a smart move on the villain. But it's sort of this, it's taking advantage of this odd, why did the game hurt me when I had the invincibility feathers on? That's just weird. It's just the game forcing you to think outside of the box, because you go to a new level, you're expecting to see all this stuff to do and immediately think of and stuff like that, but here the game's just shutting you off, and it's forcing you to think outside of the box to gain access to all these new things that you need to unlock. However, it is kind of obnoxious that you leave Pterodactyl Land just to go right back and use Chuffy in order to get into Grunty's Industries, which is kind of, I guess, a good metaphor for what I think of this level as a whole. This level does tons of things right. I love the atmosphere of Grunty's Industries because, first off, it gets the sort of, like, dreary, oppressive factory worker atmosphere down pat, you know. This looks like a place that would be terrible to work, and yet you slog from 9 to 5 any day because you gotta put food on the table. You know, I've had jobs not exactly like this, but similar to this, and it gets down this atmosphere pretty damn specifically. Also, another reason that I like this level so much is that this level isn't designed like basically any other factory level you've seen in a game. You know, when you think of factory levels in games, what do you think of? Well, the first thing that pops into my mind anyway is like Donkey Kong Country, where it's like a factory level means like electric floors, buzz saws, conveyor belts, you know, just randomly mishmashed mechanical hazards there to try to kill you as you go from place to place. Grunty's Industry does have those sort of things. You know, there are some conveyor belts, there are some electrical hazards, but this area is really sort of structured like an actual factory building would be structured. You know, you've got storage rooms, you've got a trash compactor. Everything in here, it feels like a real place, you know. A cartoony, terrible, awful place, but it feels very organic, and that's part of what I love about this level. However, on the flip side, again, it's like a double-edged sword for everything in this level. It makes this level kind of obnoxious to navigate, which I'm not going to lie. You see if you remember a security camera that I just shot, those are all over the place in this level, and they're kind of hard to notice. If that security camera spots you, it'll spawn really annoying electro drones that'll chase after you at every stretch, and that's... Ugh. Hate those guys. But yeah, this is Grunty's Industries. I'm babbling, but yeah, Grunty's Industries is just, it's like, I'm back and forth with it. Parts of it I love, 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 love. Parts of it I hate, 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 hate. Well, I shouldn't say parts of it. The one part that really bugs me the most is how obnoxious it is to navigate. Everything else about this level I do really love. But anyway, we're in the workers' quarters, and there's really only two things that we need to do in here. But the second thing we're not going to be able to do for quite some time. It involves that bunny-looking thing, that bunny-looking thing. We talked to him earlier. There's like 5 or 6 of those in this level, and you need to use those in order to get a Jiggy that we're not going to be getting for quite some time. However, the other thing that we can take care of right now is a Banjo-Kazooie 1 character. Yes, this is Logo, who, if I remember correctly, gave you like a Jiggy or something in Mad Monster Mansion from the first game. I don't really remember. My memories on Banjo-Kazooie 1 are kind of fuzzy. But he's back here, and he makes some disgusting / hilarious dialogue before you use the bill drill in him. Yuck. And help his bowel movements. Ugh. Oh, yeah, I never really found toilet humor to be funny. I just found it disgusting. Am I the only one who thinks that way? Anyway, we get some used toilet paper from him, so that's... oh, poop waters on our... ugh. 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 Yeah, okay, I've had enough toilet humor for one day. Anyway, you're going to want to get that as soon as possible, because you're not going to be going back in there ever again as Banjo and Kazooie, so it's a good idea just to get that done as soon as you possibly can. The next thing you're going to want to do, however, is open that fucking front door, because having to take Chuffy in and out every single time you play this game would be an absolute nightmare. So yeah, you're going to want to take advantage of opening that door as soon as possible. It's a relatively simple process. It involves the split-up pads, though, which is why I sort of recommend talking to Jam Jars here before you even bother with that, because... well, first off, that full heal was very helpful for me, but second off, you know, well, I guess you could, you could talk to Jam Jars after you open up the front door. I guess it doesn't really matter. But just what you need to do, it's pretty simple. You take Banjo and Kazooie and you put them on these split-up pads here, and then that gets you to open up the front door. I really do love that concept where Banjo and Kazooie are, like, Grunty says, no. I'm not even going to let you in. Why doesn't Bowser do that? Leave the door locked. Don't let Mario into the castle and then he can't save the princess. How difficult of a concept is this for you people? I mean, Jesus Christ, it's not that hard. Evil villains, take note. I'm going to teach you all a lesson, and then I won't actually help you out. I'll just sort of take over the world. Anywho, we're doing another sort of semi-sequence break here with Kazooie. Now, the strategy guide I had for this game, it wanted you to wait until you got an ability from the next level before you got this Jiggy, but I go for it now because, you know, I can. Anyway, what you want to do is you want to go for, you want to use normal Kazooie, well, I should say, solo Kazooie, and get those claw climber boots, which were the new boots that we just unlocked. They let you run up walls with Kazooie feet on them, and go into that window there. You might be better off shooting it with an egg aim from outside rather than doing that MacGyver solution I just did. Now, I think the game wants you to wait until you get an ability to let Kazooie glide through the air, but if you do that I just did, you can get Kazooie up here without too much problem. And we get like a little enemy gauntlet thing here. Basically what you want to do is you want to shoot grenade eggs at these little drone dudes, which are the same drones that you get, that you see that start attacking you if you get spotted by a security camera. Thing is, there's a really easy way to fight them. You see, if you go onto this little this little pipe out here, where the game will give you some extra ammo, those drones aren't programmed to leave that little center arena there, so you can just pick them off one by one using the Amazo-Gaze glasses as necessary. And yeah, just kick some ass. This is a really frustrating mission if you try to play it by the game's rules, but if you say, screw the rules, I've got grenade eggs like I do, it's one of the more, I don't want to say pathetic, but it's definitely a cakewalk. Again, though, just use the strategy that I'm using if you wanna get this jiggy really easily. So yeah, that's one of the easier jiggies in the game if you cheat the system like I do. This entire segment right here is just sort of a cheat of the system. Although trying to get back up is frustrating because I don't actually have the ability. I can't get enough height with Kazooie's jump in order to get that. So I ended up screwing myself over, and I'm going to have to climb all the way back up there with the claw climber boots again. In this level, you do actually get an ability that can increase Kazooie's normal jump height on her own. But, you know, you can't really do anything with you can't really... Normally I go for this one first because it's right at the front door. So you can either try to suck it up and do it normally, or you could wait until you get that and get on your way out, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't really matter what order you get this thing in as long as you just get it, you know? Yeah, I'm babbling. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we're reaching the end of the part. I know I've got like 20 seconds, but I figure if I distract you guys enough with some speech about how we're almost at the end of the part, I can get to the actual end of the part without too much incident and stuff. Okay, I think I'm good. I think I'm ready to say next time on Let's Play Banjo-Tooie, we're going to explore more of Grunty's industries. I'm ExandShadow, and I'll see you guys later.